Good morning. This is Cassie Soule. I have been a professional dressage and jumping trainer for about 18 years now, have ridden horses all of my life, 4-H judge for over 15 years, and OHSET for a little over 5 years. Today, I want to go over the training level test 3 dressage ride with you and hopefully show you as many different things that you might see while you're out judging in the OHSET arena and help you understand the difference between an error, when to ring your bell, when not to ring your bell, and hopefully clarify some questions that you may have or have come across when you were out judging. Dressage is defined as the art of riding and training a horse in a manner that develops obedience, flexibility, and balance. You could describe it as an equestrian sport defined by the International Equestrian Federation as the highest expression of horse training, where the horse and rider are expected to perform from memory a series of predetermined movements. We are judging training level. If you look at the top left-hand corner of your test, it says the purpose of training level is to demonstrate correct basics, is supple and moves freely forward in a clean rhythm that has a steady tempo, accepting contact with the bit. All trot may be ridden sitting or rising unless stated, and halts may be through the walk. The test has a whole column right in the middle of it that are called directives. And as we go through this video today, you will see how these directives will dictate what and how you judge the movement, and will also give you comments that you can use. Let's go through the test. Your first movement is A, enter working trot, X, halt, salute, and proceed working trot. Your directives are, you're looking at the quality of the trot, the willing, calm transitions, your straightness, attentiveness, and that horse should stop, halt, and stand for at least 3 seconds. So as you can see, this horse comes in straight, willing, very attentive. I scored it a 7.5. I did mark that the horse could have been steadier in the rider's hand. This is an overshot center line. Horse is above bit, fighting your rider, not straight. It's an insufficient, so it would need to be a 4 or below. If your rider does not salute at the beginning of your test, it is an error. You would write it on your test of a -2. You are not recommended to ring your bell at the beginning of the test. It will upset your rider. At the end of the test, if they do not salute again, you cannot fault them twice for the same mistake. Your second movement, C, track left, H, X, F, change rein. Your directives are, you're looking at the quality of that trot, the straightness across that diagonal, the bend and balance in the turns or through your corners. Horse is very steady, out to your hand, straight, beautiful corners. I gave the horse an 8, straight with nice rhythm. Your next movement, 3, A through C, serpentine, 3 equal loops, width of the arena. Your directives are again, quality of trot, suppleness in the bend, and your geometry of this serpentine. I gave this rider a 7.5. It was smooth and it was supple. Here are a few oops that you may encounter. This horse and rider are actually going to do 4 loops instead of 3. As you realize that they are going to do their 4th loop, they'll be going the wrong direction. You would ring your bell. Show an error on your test. In a red pen, you would write -2 on the movement Generally, I put it in the coefficient box. Then you would ask the reader to go back and read the movement, and then you would score that rider's second serpentine as for they made an error on the first. This horse starts the serpentine pretty nice, loses a little bit of rhythm, is very above the bit. Your geometry wasn't too bad. I would score it a 4 as it was insufficient to the directives that were required for serpentine. Your fourth movement is between C and M, working canter, right lead. This horse does it very willing, calm, has a great canter, nice bend. I gave it a 7 and wrote willing. This horse never cantered, but the rider is trying to get the horse to canter. That would score a 4. If they never tried to canter, it would need to be below a 3. If the horse takes the wrong lead, it would be a 4 below. If they try to fix it many times but never do get it, it would maybe be a 3 or below. Your fifth movement is B, circle right, 20 meters. Your directives are the quality of the canter, the shape and size of the circle, and the bend and balance of the horse. This horse meets all the directives. I gave the horse a 7.5 and just wrote in my comment box willing. Here is an example of horse never cantered, but the rider continued to try. So it would be a below a 4, insufficient. If the rider never tried to canter, it would need to be a 3 or below. But as long as they keep the movement of the test and going the same direction, don't ring the bell. If your circles are too small or too large, this is a circle that's too small. It was ridden very well, smooth, had good cadence. I would have scored it a 5. If you have breaks in your gaits, you just need to decide how many points you want to take off. Possibly, I'll take off a half a point for every break. So I might have scored that circle 5. This is a judgment call. If a rider has to make a circle because they lost control, it would be a disobedience, but not an error if you can justify in your head that the horse did lose control, but the score would be a 3 or below. And lose control, it's a safety issue. They needed to make a circle to regain control. Your sixth movement is A, working trot. I kind of nailed this rider a little hard with a 6 on that transition because it lacked balance and preparation. This is against the hand, above the bit, lacked smoothness. I might have been generous with a 5, but I probably would have stuck with a 4.5. Your next movement is before 7, or I'm sorry, number 7. Before K, medium walk, K to E, medium walk. I gave this horse an 8. It was a smooth transition, slightly unsteady in the contact. Then your next movement is E to M, a free walk, M, a medium walk. You want to have the quality of the walk, some ground cover, freedom to stretch. This horse showed all of these and had a nice energetic walk. I also gave the horse an 8. This horse has met the criteria of stretch. The walk lacks energy. Lost quality of the walk. I would also say lost flow and was very resistant to medium. I would have gone a 5. It did show some of the directives or requirements of the test. This horse, very resistant to walk. He will show a few jigs. With that much resistance across the diagonal, lack of showing stretch or ground cover, it would need to be a 4 or below. 9 is their transition at C to a working trot. I gave the horse an 8, it was very willing. And then we go to number 10 again, your 3-loop serpentine, width of the arena. If I think back on the first serpentine this horse showed me, I feel as though the quality of the trot wasn't as nice as the first serpentine. And generally, I'll look back on my test. I gave the first serpentine a 7.5. I gave that serpentine a 7 and just said it needed better flow. This is your canter transition between A and F. I said balanced and willing. I gave it a 7.5. And then this is your circle left, 20 meters. In your canter, I'm going to look back at my first canter circle. I gave it a 7.5. I gave this canter circle a 6.5. I thought the quality of the canter wasn't as nice on this lead. Your 13th movement is C, working trot. I nailed this horse again. I think that it lacked preparation and balance, and it was slightly against the hand. I gave it a 6.5. This is what I call my stretchy circle. It's number 14. It is circle left 20 meters, rising trot, allowing the horse to stretch downwards and forward. The directives are it should be forward and downward with stretch. That chin of the horse needs to get below his elbows. You judge the size of the circle and the bend and the balance. I gave that horse an 8.5 and just wrote well done. Other things that you may see while you're out there judging. This horse didn't show any stretch. I would say the rider is restricting the horse from stretching. With lack of showing any kind of stretch downward, they're very specific. It would need to be a 4 or below. This horse does show stretch. I would say it's inconsistent. And one of the directives is that that horse stretches to contact. I would have given that stretch circle a 5. Here's another one that the horse did show stretch, but notice the rhythm of the trot got quicker. Horse lost a little balance. Giving it a 4.5. Your last movement is A down center line, exhale, salute. You're looking for straightness, calm, quiet, balanced transitions. This horse shows a very straight center line, does step haunches right towards the end. Gave him a 7.5. The final part of your judging is flipping the test over and scoring your collectives. The first collective is gaits, and the easiest way to score the gaits is to score them individually and then take the average of the 3. I gave this horse, the gray horse that we were watching, a 7.5 and just made a note that the left lead wasn't quite as strong. For some reason, the rider doesn't show you a gait. For example, they don't show you left lead canter, part of a gait. The score has to be a 5 or below. Second score in your collectives is impulsion. It is a coefficient of 2. Any scores that you see with the coefficient column on your test that says a 2 means that the score is times 2. Impulsion is the desire to move forward with suppleness and engagement of the hindquarters. I gave the gray horse a 7.5. Your next score in your collectives is submission, and that is the willingness, harmony, acceptance of the bit, straightness, ease of movements. I wrote that this gray horse, I gave him a 6.5. Usually your impulsion score and your submission score will be different. You'll decide whether or not you like the quality of the horse more than you like the submission of the horse. And in this case, I did like the quality of that gray gelding more than I liked his submission. So his submission score was a point lower than his impulsion score. The next score in the collective marks is the rider's position. This is alignment, posture, stability, weight placement, and the following mechanics of the rider. I gave this rider on the gray gelding a 7.5 and just simply wrote balance, soft hands. Your final score in your collective marks is rider's correct and effective use of aids, clarity, independence, and accuracy of your test. I gave this rider a 7.5. And from signing your test, the last thing that you'll do is to write something in your further remarks box. Generally, you just flip your test over, go through your comments, and you'll always see a general theme. Either the horse needs better bend or use of corners. It's not a riding lesson. You just want to give them pointers on how they can improve their score. I've included a cheat sheet. And I just want you guys to know that was me riding that gray gelding and how much fun I had trying to ride him properly and make this video up for you guys. I hope it was super helpful. I'm here for questions. I'm always available if you run into anything while you're out judging to shoot me a text. Good luck, relax, and have fun.